Hey, Dr. Brian Anderson. I hope that you are doing well. Today we're going to be going over stress. And in particular, we're going to be talking about some of the negative effects of stress. I'm also going to be going over a couple of different types of testing that you may not be familiar with, and also some strategies for dealing with stress, for dealing with cortisol in particular, our stress hormone. And I think these will be helpful tips for you, especially if you're dealing with stress, if you've got stress at home, stress with your career, stress with family, relationships, etc. So stress, as we know, was initially very helpful, and it still can be very helpful in helping us to procure the basic things in life. So food, shelter, water, relationships, etc. So this was a primitive response that still exists today, right? So the problem is, despite this primitive response, sometimes that response can occur as a result of modern technology. And we know that technology, especially electronics, can impact cortisol, can impact stress response. If you've got buzzers and notifications going off, push notifications in particular on your device, that may be something you want to think about. And you probably have already thought about that already. So today we're going to be going over, again, some of the testing, some of the types of supplementation. I find a lot of patients are not on the correct form of supplementation, so we'll be going over that. And then lastly, again, some strategies that you could use to help mitigate stress response, which is the leading killer. We know stress is a leading killer as far as cardiovascular disease. It may increase risk of diabetes, stroke, etc. So these are real things, not to mention its effect on your quality of life. So as far as looking at stress, looking at cortisol, there are a couple of different testing methods. I find that we used to get a simple single blood test. So we'd get like a serum test and check a single cortisol level. But the problem with that is the reference range of normal on that test is really wide, meaning that the low value and the high value are really far apart to catch a lot of variation in the level. And the reason for that is normally our cortisol elevates in the morning and then declines at night. That is a natural cortisol response. So as you can imagine, depending on the time of day that you obtain that sample, it could cause that value to vary a lot. So I find that using a blood test is very useful for identifying very, very high levels of cortisol or essentially no cortisol. And situations that have no cortisol sometimes would be a patient, if you were in the ICU, you're very sick, or if you're on corticosteroids for a long period of time, that can deplete your cortisol. So in these extreme cases, a single serum cortisol test could be useful, not to discount that. But day to day, what I see most are patients that are dealing with stress and they want to figure out, hey, what can I do to help increase my quality of life? What can I do to help with my cortisol level? And so in order to get the answer and to help you with that question, I find that doing a multi-part test throughout the day, usually at timed intervals in the morning, mid-morning, afternoon, mid-afternoon, and then at night, getting multiple samples gives us a tighter reference range, a tighter normal range, and then we can identify more reliably if your level's too high or too low at certain times during the day. So the easiest way to test that, especially with multiple samples, is to do a salivary cortisol test. And so basically, you'd spit it in a tube at timed intervals throughout the day. We would send that sample to a testing center. They would look at your cortisol level, plot it on a nice, lovely graph, and then we can determine if your cortisol level is raising appropriately and also declining appropriately. So that's the best way of checking those sorts of things. Now, as far as treatment, I mentioned a lot of people are on adrenal supplements, and I find that patients are on the not the right adrenal supplement most of the time. So in general, most of the adrenal supplements have bovine and porcine cortisol extracts. So yes, those are derived from animals, and so those are supplemented cortisol, so to speak. So I find that supplemented cortisol would only be helpful if your cortisol level is very, very low. If you are already on the high end of your cortisol, you probably wouldn't want to be supplementing and taking more in. You can make a bad problem worse with that approach, and vice versa. So basically, step one would be to do a simple screening questionnaire. I'd be happy to do those with you. Most of the time, you're going to know if you're stressed or not. We don't need the questionnaire most of the time. However, the questionnaire may be useful in helping us to constructively target some of these lifestyle factors that may be increasing and elevating the cortisol, or may be causing the adrenal glands to be burnt out to begin with. So that's step one. Step two would be to be using a lab test. So again, a single serum test, useful at extreme ends in ranges, but really getting that multi-part salivary cortisol test is very helpful. We would get that, see where you fall. If your cortisol is normal, great, you're adapting fine. If you're high, if you're low, there are different and opposite strategies for targeting both of those. And then lastly, looking at lifestyle. So what types of restorative activities might help you with cortisol and get the quality of life that you deserve? So I find a lot of restorative activities may involve something that's not particularly stressful. So powerlifting may not be something that you want to do as a restorative activity. Maybe for some, but for most, probably not. Maybe it's a walk on the beach. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's talking with a friend. Maybe if you're a spiritual person, maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's taking a walk with your loved one. There are a variety of strategies for doing restorative type activity that can help. And stress we tend to blow off and say, yeah, everybody's got stress. Well, that's true. But we also want to make sure that you're adapting appropriately. And that's very important. So that's the end of the video today. I hope you enjoyed it. My goal is to get out helpful health information to you. If you like the information, please like and subscribe. We appreciate that. As always, if you have any questions, you feel free to give me a call or send an email. I hope that you're doing well. Till next time, Dr. Brian Anderson signing off.